Alright, so I'm making a lighted chandelier, a bubble chandelier, I guess you would call it, for a friend. And I'm starting out with these glass spheres. They're hollow, of course, and then a little tiny little hole in the top of it. And my first challenge was how was I gonna mount this and make this withstand the weight of itself. And they're going to be suspended by 3/8 inch cast acrylic tubes. And the LED lights that are inside it, they're the dewdrop LEDs with the copper wires that are covered in some sort of vinyl or whatever to keep them from shorting out. But anyway, my first challenge was how am I going to attach this square block. This is a 2 inch by 2 inch by 1 inch thick piece of acrylic, and I ordered 20 of these from Tap Plastics, and they were absolutely perfect. The machining they did on these and the cutting was amazing. If you guys get a chance to check out Tap Plastics, I recommend them. So the first thing I have to do, I have to drill a hole in the center of this. I'm going to drill a hole right here to accept the LEDs that I put through it. It'll be a 3/8 inch diameter. It's actually a little bit wider because the cast acrylic is slightly larger than 3/8. But and now how am I gonna? My next challenge was how am I gonna match this perfectly to this irregular shaped blown glass. So that challenge was overcome later, and I'll explain that further. First, let's drill a hole in this, and then take it out, and we'll grind the corners off to get ready for the lathe. I simply went from corner to corner with this hacksaw blade and an X-Acto knife, and I scratched an X corner to corner, and then used an automatic punch to punch out the center. And it doesn't have to be exact. You can see I got off to the right just a little bit there because if you've ever tried to punch acrylic, it slides around and it's hard to get perfectly. If I'd have made the scratches deeper, it would have been easier. But anyway, it's going to be turned on a lathe. It doesn't matter. The point is you want to get as close as possible. And then now I'm going to drill a 3/16 of an inch hole right through. And the size is determined by the punches that are on my my lathe, because I want the punches to go completely through the actual spire points on the lathe, so that way the teeth can bite on one side and the round circle will bite on this side, and I'll show you that later. Let's drill this hole. And when I'm setting this drill bit down, you can kind of see it walk to one side, and the reason why I freehand this, and this isn't in a vise, for anyone that's curious, is because if I use a vise, this drill bit's just going to go down where it's held in the vise, and I want to try to get it as close to perfect as I can, and it feels like right about there. Let's take this out to the grinder, and I'll grind these edges off. We're not going to make this perfectly round with the grinder. I'm just going to get it close, and that way it won't be so damaging and dangerous on the lathe when I spin it. And you'll see that here in a minute. Okay, so we're back to the grinder now, and I'm just going to roll this in until I get it fairly round. Okay, so now that we've turned it down, ground it down fairly round, it's not round totally, but now it's time for the lathe. This is where things get dangerous and interesting at the same time. Let's turn this round. Alright, after making an adjustment and going ahead and giving it a final spin, it's true. Now all I have to do is sand this to get ready for polishing. I'm going to move my tool rest out of the way. I'm going to start with a 200 grit and work down to a 320, and that'll be fine. Alright, that looks pretty good. It's still going to have the frosted look until I take it to the polisher. Now the next thing to do is take this all down, put the chuck in here, and face it to contour it to the glass globe. Okay, using the same toenail gouge, fingernail gouge, whatever it's called, we're going to contour the face of this so it'll set on top of the glass globe. Check it as we go. Alright, that's a good starting point. Now I'm going to show you a little trick for how I can match the contour of this to the contour of the globe. Okay, so inside this I have just 2 drops of water. Pretty simple. And I've sealed the hole on the globe with a piece of Scotch tape. And what I'll do, I'll just set it down on it, give it a spin, and it'll give me a real good idea of contour and what I need to adjust. And I can already tell without the water I'm not near deep enough. See how the water is all pooling to the center? I'm not sure if this is coming through on the camera. There we go. If you can see that, that just means I need to go deeper with the center so the outside area will have more contact to the glass. So we'll do work on the center and then check it again. Okay, I'm not sure what you can see, but it is almost a perfect seal with 2 drops of water. And that's as good as I'm going to get it because of irregular surfaces of the globe. I can't turn an irregular surface on the lathe. At least when one high of the glass is higher than the other, so it's not possible. But that's near perfect, and I'm going to leave it alone. Alright, now I'm chucked back in. I'm just going to use 3 different grits of sandpaper to take out my marks that my lathe made holding the piece in. Once that's done, I'll be able to take it and polish it up. Okay, so we're finished with the polishing. It's not 100%, but it's pretty close, and I won't know until I properly wash it and see what I have. But now the next step is to drill a 3/8" hole where this hole is. Another dangerous part of this operation is trying to get this hole in the center. And that way it won't come out all lopsided, but here we go. Okay, so it looked like it turned out great. I want to mention, I guess, just, you know, for people that are new to drill presses or whatever, what I just did is dangerous. So I don't recommend using your tools the way I use mine. You know, you're supposed to use vices, and of course don't try to clean off your drill bits while they're spinning. All right, the next step in the process is to make the inside diameter actually fit the cast 3/8 acrylic tube. This is just a piece of scrap. The tube is actually bigger than 3/8, so it won't fit. Not even close. So we just have to take some sandpaper. It's a little bit tedious, but hollow out the inside. And that's what we want. Okay, to give you an idea what we're going for. They're going to be basically individual pendant lights with dewdrop LEDs, and this is what it's going to look like. They're going to be hanging above the, you know, from the ceiling, all individual LEDs, copper LEDs in here, and running up the tube to the power pack in the ceiling.